I am a multi-millionaire. This is the exact Florence Shinn affirmation that manifests wealth faster than anything else she ever taught. And when spoken correctly, with the right consciousness, it has manifested multimillionaires for the past 100 years. But most people repeat affirmations every single day and never see results, because nobody ever taught them the exact way Florence Shinn intended these words to be spoken to activate the law. And tonight, you are going to learn the exact affirmation, the exact way to say it, and the exact protocol that begins moving multi-millionaire wealth toward you fast. So let us start with the premise. As stated in Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue. This is not poetry, this is law. The spoken word carries the actual creative force that produces or destroys the reality you are living. And Florence Shinn understood this more completely than almost anyone in modern spiritual history. She taught that every word is a law, that your word is your wand, that the spoken word is the most powerful instrument given to a human being, and that whatever you speak with conviction must manifest in your life. This is what I would like to discuss with you today. Now, before we go any further, I want to stop here, because what I am about to share works most powerfully when you are already standing in the right consciousness to receive it. So I need you to say this out loud right now with me. Say, I am a multi-millionaire. I speak it into law. My word is my wand. Say it one more time and mean it this time. I am a multi-millionaire. I speak it into law. My word is my wand. Good. Hold that. Notice what just happened in your body when you said it. That flinch you may have felt, that resistance, that voice saying, "Who do you think you are to say that?" All of that is exactly what we are going to address tonight. And one quick thing before we go further. If those words landed for you, drop them in the comments below right now. Just write, I am a multi-millionaire. So I know you are speaking it into law with me tonight. And subscribe to this channel right now so the next Florence Shinn affirmation finds you exactly when your subconscious is ready to receive it. And then we go deeper. So let me start here with the first piece. The spoken word is law. This is Florence Shinn's foundational teaching, and it is not metaphor, it is not poetic encouragement. It is the most precise description of how reality is created that has ever been written down. Every single word you speak places an instruction in the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind treats every instruction as law. The subconscious does not evaluate whether the statement is true or false. The subconscious does not consider whether the statement is realistic or wishful. The subconscious treats every spoken declaration as the actual truth of who you are and what your life is. And it begins organizing the outer world to produce results that match the declaration. This is why ancient spiritual traditions guarded the spoken word more carefully than any other action, because they understood that the word is creative force. And the creative force does not distinguish between casual speech and deliberate declaration. It produces whatever has been spoken. The multimillionaire understood this without necessarily knowing the teaching. Somewhere in their development, they began speaking as if abundance was their natural state, and the law responded. The broke person also understood this without knowing it. Somewhere in their development, they began speaking as if lack was their natural state, and the law responded. The law itself is neutral. It produces whatever you speak into it with conviction over time. And the only difference between the multimillionaire and the broke person is the dominant pattern of speech that each of them has been placing into the law for years and decades. And this is why most affirmations do not work for most people. Because most people repeat affirmations from a position of doubt. They say the words, but their internal state is one of disbelief. They speak abundance with their mouth and lack with their consciousness. And the law receives the dominant signal, which is always the inner one, not the outer one. The words are only effective when they are spoken from a state of acceptance, of claiming, of authority, not from a state of begging or hoping or trying to convince the universe of something you do not believe. This distinction is what separates the people who use affirmations and become wealthy from the people who use affirmations for years and stay exactly where they are. The second piece is the difference between hoping for wealth and speaking it into law. When you say, I hope, become wealthy someday, you are placing a very specific instruction in the law. You are saying, I am someone who hopes. I am someone who has not yet arrived. I am someone for whom wealth is in the future and possibly never. And the law produces exactly that, a life of hoping, a life of someday, a life of always almost, but never quite. When you say, I am a multimillionaire, you are placing a completely different instruction in the law. You are claiming the identity in the present tense. You are speaking the reality into being. You are using the creative force of the word the way it was designed to be used. And the law begins producing the channels, the opportunities, the relationships, the breakthroughs that match the spoken identity. This is the difference Florence Shinn taught between begging the universe and commanding the law. The begging position is one of lack, of pleading, of hoping for permission, and the universe does not respond to begging because begging is the consciousness of not having. The commanding position is one of authority, of claiming what is yours by divine right, and the law responds to commanding because commanding is the consciousness of already being. And the consciousness of already being is the only consciousness from which the having can actually manifest. You do not beg the law for what you want. You command the law with what you am. And the law produces accordingly. And this is exactly why so many people repeat affirmations for years without any change in their financial life. They are not commanding, they are pleading. They are reciting the words while inwardly hoping that maybe this time the universe will take pity on them and grant what they desire. But the universe does not work through pity. The universe works through law. And the law responds to the consciousness behind the speech, not just the speech itself. When you shift from pleading to commanding, the same words begin producing completely different results. The third piece is why multimillionaire is more powerful than simply rich. And this is something most teachers never address. The subconscious mind responds to specificity. The more vague your declaration, the weaker the law placed into it. When you say, I am rich, the subconscious has to decide what rich means. And most people's idea of rich is so undefined that the law cannot produce anything specific. The result is vague, occasional, easily reversed. When you say, I am a multimillionaire, the subconscious has a clear instruction. Multi means more than one. Millionaire means a specific net worth. And the law now has something concrete to organize the outer world around. Opportunities of a particular magnitude, channels of a particular scale, relationships of a particular caliber. The specificity of the declaration becomes the specificity of the manifestation. This is why Florence Shinn often had her clients speak very specific declarations rather than generic ones. Instead of, I am abundant, she would have someone say, I have a large, undreamed of sum of money coming to me by divine right. Instead of, I am successful, she would have someone say, I hold the perfect position by divine right, in which I render perfect service for perfect pay. The specificity is what makes the law operate with precision. Vague declarations produce vague results. Specific declarations produce specific manifestations. When you choose to speak, "I am a multimillionaire" into law, you are choosing specificity. You are giving the law something exact to produce, and the precision of your speech becomes the precision of your outcome. There is also something important to understand about why the word multi matters so much. When you say, "I am a millionaire," the subconscious can manifest exactly that. A single instance of being worth $1 million, perhaps briefly, perhaps with conditions attached. But when you say, "I am a multimillionaire," you are telling the law you are someone for whom 1 million is the floor, not the ceiling. You are establishing a state of being where money exists in multiples, in abundance, in overflowing measure, and the law produces a different kind of manifestation entirely. The multi-distinction shifts your entire financial trajectory from scarcity thinking to abundance thinking. Even within wealth itself, the fourth piece is how to speak it through the flinch. Because this is where almost everyone gets stuck. The first time you say, "I am a multimillionaire" out loud, your body will resist, your mind will protest. A voice will say, "This is ridiculous. You have not earned the right to say this. This is a lie. This is delusional." And most people stop at the flinch. They conclude that because the statement feels untrue, they should not speak it. But this conclusion is exactly backwards. The flinch is not evidence that the statement is false. The flinch is evidence of the gap between your current programming and the new identity you are claiming. The flinch is the old identity protecting itself against being replaced. And the only way through is to speak the new identity directly into the flinch. You let the resistance come up. You observe it without identifying with it. You continue speaking the declaration, and each time you do that, the flinch becomes smaller, the resistance weakens, the gap closes, until eventually you can say, "I am a multi-millionaire," with the same calm certainty you would use to state your own name. And that calm certainty is the consciousness from which the manifestation actually occurs. You do not need to feel rich to speak rich into law. You need to speak rich into law in order to feel rich. The speaking is what changes the consciousness. The consciousness is what changes the reality. The reality is the last thing to shift, not the first. This is the order most people get backwards. They wait for the feeling to arrive before speaking the words. But the feeling cannot arrive until the words have been spoken consistently enough to install the new identity. The speech is the cause, the feeling is the effect. The reality is the result, and you must start with the speech regardless of how the speech makes you feel in the beginning. And let me address something else about the flinch, because there is wisdom in the resistance that nobody talks about. The size of the flinch when you speak a declaration is a precise measurement of how much programming work the declaration is going to do for you. If "I am a multimillionaire" produces a massive flinch in your body, it means the gap between your current identity and the claimed identity is enormous, which means this affirmation is exactly the right one for you to be speaking. The bigger the flinch, the more transformative the work. Do not avoid the declarations that produce the biggest flinches. Those are the ones that will change your life most completely. The small, comfortable affirmations that produce no resistance are essentially harmless. They confirm what you already believe, and they change nothing. The powerful affirmations are the ones that disturb something deep in you, that activate the old identity to defend itself, that produce a flinch you would prefer to avoid. Those are the gold. The fifth piece is the speech audit, and this is the exercise that will show you exactly what you have been speaking into law without realizing it. For the next 24 hours, you become an observer of every single word you speak about yourself, your money, your life, your future. You do not need to change anything yet, you just observe, and you will be shocked at what you discover. You will catch yourself saying, "I cannot afford it." You will catch yourself saying, "Money is tight." You will catch yourself saying, "Things are hard right now." you will catch yourself saying, I am struggling, I am exhausted, I am behind. You will hear yourself making dozens of declarations every single day that are placing instructions of lack and struggle and limitation directly into the law. And the law has been responding accordingly, producing the lack and struggle and limitation in your life that exactly match what you have been speaking. This audit alone is enough to change most people, because once you see how much you have been speaking against yourself, you cannot continue doing it unconsciously. You become aware, and awareness is the first step toward redirection. After 24 hours of pure observation, you spend the next 24 hours practicing the replacement. Every time you catch yourself in an old pattern, you stop, and you replace the declaration with the I am equivalent. Instead of I cannot afford it, you say, it is not for me right now, or it is being arranged in my supply. Instead of money is tight, you say, my supply is being rearranged. Instead of I am struggling, you say, I am in transition. Instead of I am behind, you say, I am exactly where I am meant to be at this moment. These are not lies. These are different framings that direct the law toward different outcomes. The audit reveals what you have been creating without knowing it, and the replacement begins creating something new with full awareness. And there is one more thing about the audit that is important to mention. You should also audit the speech of the people you spend the most time with, because their speech becomes ambient programming for your subconscious. If everyone around you constantly speaks lack, struggle, and limitation, you are absorbing those declarations every time you are in their presence, and the law is receiving the cumulative input of your environment, not just your own speech. This does not mean you have to cut off everyone in your life, but it does mean you need to become aware of who in your environment is speaking against the multi-millionaire identity you are trying to install. And where possible, you spend more time around people whose speech is naturally abundant, even if you have to find them through books, podcasts, or videos. You are training your nervous system to a new normal, and surrounding yourself with the right speech accelerates this dramatically. The sixth piece is the structure I want you to use, the 30-day spoken law protocol, because consistency is the entire game, and a single declaration cannot install a new identity. The law responds to repetition. The new identity must be spoken into being thousands of times until the subconscious accepts it as the new operating truth. Here is the protocol. Every morning when you wake up, before your phone, before anything else, you speak 3 declarations out loud 3 times each. The declarations are, I am a multi-millionaire. I speak it into law. My word is my wand. You say each one 3 times with conviction, like you are confirming something already established, not hoping for something that might come. Throughout the day, every time you catch yourself in an old pattern of speech, you stop and replace it with an I am declaration. You do not punish yourself for catching the old pattern. You simply replace it. The catching is the practice. Every catch is a tiny act of installing the new identity. Every night before you fall asleep, you speak the 3 declarations one final time, letting them be the last thing your conscious mind touches before sleep. The subconscious works on whatever you give it last, and giving it the multi-millionaire declaration as the final impression of your day means the subconscious works on integrating that identity for the entire night. On the first day, the declarations may feel strange. The flinch may be strong. By the 3rd day, the words begin to feel slightly more natural. By the 7th day, you are catching old patterns more quickly. By the 14th day, the new declarations feel like something you actually believe. By the 21st day, you are speaking the new language without effort. And by the 30th day, something has shifted in the outer world. Opportunities appear that were not there before. Ideas arrive that move you toward the multi-millionaire reality. People reach out who connect you to channels you did not have access to. Money flows in ways that surprise you. This is not magic. This is law. You have spent 30 days deliberately speaking a new reality into being, and the law has been producing the matching outcomes. The practice does not end at 30 days. The practice becomes a way of life. The people who actually become multimillionaires are people for whom this speech is simply normal. They speak this way every single day for years and decades, and the law continues responding for as long as the speech continues. The speech is permanent, the manifestation is permanent, and the identity becomes who you actually are, not just who you are speaking yourself into being. And I want to add something specific about the morning declaration, because the morning is when this work compounds most powerfully. When you wake up, your subconscious mind is in a state that is unusually open and receptive. The guardian of the conscious critical mind has not fully resumed its post yet, and whatever declarations you speak in those first few minutes pass into the deep mind with very little resistance. This is why Florence Shinn often recommended speaking declarations first thing in the morning, before any other input, before any other voices, before the news or social media or other people's words begin entering your awareness and shaping your consciousness for the day. The morning is sacred programming time, and using it deliberately for the multi-millionaire declarations is one of the highest leverage things you can do for your financial future. Do not skip the morning, even if you are tired, even if you are running late. Even 30 seconds of the declarations spoken in the morning has more impact than 30 minutes of declarations spoken in the middle of the day. Here is the whole picture. You have been speaking your current reality into existence every single day of your life. Every casual word about money, every offhand comment about your circumstances, every internal monologue about what is possible for you. All of it has been placed into the law, and the law has been producing matching results. This is why your bank account looks the way it does. This is why your opportunities have been what they have been. This is why your life has the texture and shape it currently has. None of this is random. None of this is bad luck. All of it is the precise output of the words you have been placing into law. But here is the truth that makes everything different. You can change the speech, starting today. You can speak something else into law, starting in this very moment. And the law does not care what you have spoken in the past. It only cares what you are speaking now. The moment you change your dominant speech, the law begins producing different outcomes. Slowly at first, then with increasing momentum, until your outer reality reflects the new declarations rather than the old ones. This is what Florence Shinn taught 100 years ago, and it is more relevant now than it has ever been. Because we live in a culture that constantly speaks limitation and lack, and most people are absorbing those patterns into their own speech without realizing it. You cannot afford to speak the way the culture speaks. You have to speak deliberately. You have to speak in opposition to the lack programming around you. You have to speak the multi-millionaire identity into law over and over until it becomes the dominant pattern of your speech, and then your reality. Before we close, I want to say something honest. When you are in difficult financial circumstances and you speak, "I am a multi-millionaire," out loud, it can feel absurd. Your bank account contradicts every word. Your circumstances mock the declaration. The people around you would laugh if they heard you. But here is what you have to understand. The bank account is the past speaking. The circumstances are the past speaking. The people around you are speaking their own past into their own laws. None of it is reality. All of it is yesterday's law producing today's evidence. And today's law will produce tomorrow's evidence. Your speech today is creating the bank account, the circumstances, the new people who will surround you in a year, in 3 years, in 10 years. Do not look at the current evidence and conclude the declaration is impossible. Look at the current evidence and recognize it as proof that the law works. The law has been working perfectly all along, producing exactly what you have been speaking. And now that you know how to direct it, the same law will produce exactly what you choose to speak instead. The law does not change, only your speech changes. And the speech you choose tonight is the foundation of the multi-millionaire identity you are becoming. So say it one more time with me before you finish this video. I am a multi-millionaire. I speak it into law. My word is my wand. Hold that. Feel it. Let it land in you. And tomorrow morning, when you wake up, say it again. And the day after that, and the day after that. For 30 days, no exceptions. And at the end of those 30 days, come back and tell me what changed. Because something will. And that something will be the beginning of a completely different life. You have the tool now, you have the understanding, you have the protocol. The rest is up to you. The law is waiting for your instructions. And tonight, you are giving it new ones.